Can you start a podcast with me, please? I need something to do.
Pastrnak sent it out in front of Malkin to save. They score! Elias Lindholm looks to the heavens.
Here's a chance. Potter right in, and goalie scores. Oh my! What a move by the rookie.
2-on-1. Pastrnak moving in with Marchand. Get into it. Score!
The zone. Coyle dances in. Backhand score!
Lindholm right wing corner. Pastrnak is there. He scores! David Pastrnak wins it for Boston.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Bruins Tape to Tape. We are recording on Monday, January 12th. The Bruins have had a significant amount of activity to start 2026. But before we dive into the week that was for the Boston Bruins, I want to welcome in my lovely, but alas, a bit tired hockey mom co-host, Caroline with a K. You are on hockey overload, my friend.
Hi, Maria. Oh my God. If I'm not at a rink, something must be seriously wrong at this point in the season.
Been there, done that. Been there, done that. I'm not going to say don't care to do it again, because there are times that I miss it.
Yep. Oh, where are you off to? Where do you think?
Another rink. Well, having experienced many an arena myself across the New England area, we felt pretty goddamn lucky to have the rinks that we had in the state of Maine, given some of the arenas that our boys played at.
It's always a crapshoot when you're going to a new one, so you never know what you're going to get.
Oh, yeah, yeah. When you have to tell the kids, when you put your equipment on and you're done, make sure you zip up your bag so no critters can get inside your hockey bags, okay?
Oh, no. It's horrible.
Anywho, the Bruins have had themselves a week since we last recorded. Most of it has been good, and we'll talk about what the difference has been or is in the fact that they've, figured out and corrected some things in their games. But before we get going, there's a little bit of news in that, just quickly, I don't know, for those of you who haven't been on social media or are curious, the Patriots played their first playoff game in New England in quite some time and actually won the game. I believe it's the first playoff game they've won since they won a Super Bowl in 2019, believe it or not. And Christian Gonzalez arrived at Gillette Stadium pregame rocking his Zdeno Chara attires. If anyone hasn't seen that, it's a pretty cool photo that's been circulating on social media. So good on Christian for paying homage to Big Z. In addition to that, we have a little injury to talk about, another injury to Hampus Lindholm, a bit of a mysterious injury, and one in which we haven't gotten a great deal of insight on or transparency from the Boston Bruins at this point in time, but troubling nonetheless, because this is becoming a little bit of a pattern with this player, and not in a good way. Also, Jonathan Aspero signed a 2-year extension with the Boston Bruins at $8,875. Not a bad little deal. And this guy's been a solid. I've liked his play. I like his focus and his intensity and his I'm just going to work my butt off attitude. What are your thoughts on this player?
I love this guy. We've affectionately called him the mustache in our Discord because he's rocking the pretty solid mustache out there as a young guy. I can't quite put my finger on it yet. I got to spend a little bit more time actually just specifically watching him because the circus that has been going on the last few weeks has made it hard. But the stats don't lie. The Bruins have been, 5-1-0 or something like that since he came back.
Yeah.
And he's a traditional defenseman, which sometimes you just need to have on the team.
No, every team needs those stay-at-home
Yes. And
steady Eddies. Yeah.
And I think the Bruins, with the departure of Brandon Carlo last March, really then put themselves in a position where they didn't have a completely stay-at-home defenseman on the roster. We've got a lot of guys who play defense who are obviously very defensive, but not really completely in the way that Aspero really plays his game. And you just need it, especially if the core values of the Bruins franchise includes extremely solid defensive structure. You have to have that as part of the recipe. Very exciting to see that. I think if I was not expecting it, the announcement yesterday.
No. It came out of a little bit of nowhere, right? A little bit out of left field.
But I think in all the best ways, it kind of pumped everyone up. We're like, yes, management sees him. They recognize his contribution, and they're rewarding players who are coming in, working within the confines of the system and executing on it. And I think that that's going to have a huge return on what's happening in that locker room, because it's saying we reward players who come in. We had no expectations, and he's doing more than what we asked.
So let me ask you this. Hear me out. Or is this laying the foundation to lock this guy in, who is a very serviceable defenseman, to a 2-year deal at a good amount of money in order to be able to either move him at the trade deadline or in the off season to a team that, again, you have to, if we're, just something that popped into my head. I like the way he plays. I like what he's done. Now, Nikita Zadorov leads the team in plus minus. He's played 46 games. He hasn't missed a game. He's a plus 15. Jonathan Aspero, who has played in only 26 games, is a plus 15. Yep. Now, I know that's not the be-all and end-all, but clearly this guy, he's doing his job, and he's doing it well. And if he's still a member of this roster come March, April, May, June, and great. Yeah. But if Don Sweeney is actually doing what he should be doing as a general manager, which is trying to line things up for the future, good on him.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how you slice it, even if that, I think, I think this is one of those things where two things could absolutely be true, because he certainly was deserving of it, and I'm thrilled to see someone being rewarded in that way. But there's, it is still a business, and if some of that motivation for front office to make this deal happen was, hey, we want to kind of value him a little higher, so that way he has a higher rate of return come that time. Mm-hmm. I mean, they know that he has value. It's not a falsely inflated value that they're placing on him because they're hoping to get more than they could for him.
Oh, and they can ill afford to do that on this roster right now. I mean, that would be just egregious on the part of Sweeney. You don't have a whole ton of room to begin with.
Not a lot of breathing room.
But, not a lot of breathing room. The next big event coming up for the Boston Bruins is the Zdeno Chara retirement ceremony, which is sounding and shaping up to be the event of the season here. It's going to be hosted by Andrew Ferentz, and those of us who are season ticket holders have been receiving all kinds of information about timetables and timing, and this is when this is happening, and red carpet entrances, and be in your seats. And the itinerary is at 4:15. There's a gold carpet entrance at the main hub and entrance of the TD Garden. 5 o'clock The doors will open for all ticket holders. They're encouraging all ticket holders to be in their seats by 6:10. 6:20, the ceremony begins, and the game is not scheduled to start until 8 p.m.
8 p.m.?
That's according to this. Now, I'm assuming then that means that the ceremony itself is going to be a minimum, likely an hour long, and they're going to want the teams to be able to warm up as they would normally warm up. So there you have it. That was the information that we received from the Boston Bruins.
Well, and it's rightly so. The Boston Bruins haven't retired a number since January of 2022. So it's been 4 years since they last did one of these. So I don't remember all of the details around that as well. But he is also the first European player to have his number retired by the Bruins, and only the 13th overall retired by the organization. And quite frankly, this one was a long time coming. You've said before in the past that whether it's the Jacobs family or whomever makes those decisions, that the Bruins are notorious for being particularly slow at giving this kind of honor to players who have defined this franchise. I mean, for crying out loud, the only reason why Ray Bourque's number got retired as fast as it did was because they were retiring it in Colorado, and Boston said, "We'll be damned if that happens first." Like, he spent 21 years in Boston. So
yeah, and I mean, as much as I like to crap on the Jacobs family, sometimes too, it's also a timing issue. If there are particular people that are critical, crucial, and important to this ceremony for Zdeno Chara, they want to make sure that they're able to get them there. Like, I believe that a lot of members of the 2011 Stanley Cup championship team are going to be at this ceremony and somewhat active in the ceremony itself.
yes, yeah. And all but one are retired at this point. So time has to pass. And obviously, scheduling is a legitimate thing. Shortly after he had retired, we had the Willie O'Ree one, and you don't want to have one every year. I understand that. And then it was the centennial, and there was a question mark of, is that going to be part of it or not? And it didn't, which was okay. Like, that made sense as well. And so I think I wouldn't be surprised if there were a couple of extenuating circumstances that were then really forcing the Jacobs family to all right, it has to happen now because A, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. How long do you make a person who is inducted into the Hall of Fame wait for that? But B, I mean, not to count chickens before eggs have been hatched, but another former captain of the Boston Bruins who is retired becomes eligible for the Hockey Hall of Fame
this June.
And
he's going in first ballot. It's a no-brainer. He's going in.
And how you can't possibly then make that man wait to retire that number. Number 37, for those of you who are new and are not following. Like, it has to happen because of just the timing of it. So they really kind of put it off, so to speak, as late as they possibly could. They're doing this at the 11th hour to squeeze in because it's going to happen. We're going to see two very quickly, which is great.
Often.
We don't see this very often.
And deserve it. These are no-brainers in terms of members of the Boston Bruins whose numbers should go up into the rafters. And, that's a conversation for another day because sometimes there's too many numbers. Like, you look at the Boston Celtics when you go into the TD Garden and you see how many Celtics numbers have been retired, and you're like, okay, how many more can we put up there, right? And
I know. But you can't deny that the Boston Bruins have had arguably two golden eras. Mm-hmm. There was the golden era where we see a large number of players that are hanging up there from, the late 60s into the 70s. And then the golden era that was basically the tenure of Zdeno Chara up until last year. And we were really pushing it. Really, it was through 2019. So the fact that Patrice Bergeron is not going to be the last number retired from this era. Like, it's just unavoidable. You can't not. These people made that era happen for
I'm
the
a bit
franchise.
because I don't know who else I would put up there after Patrice right now.
No? Well, there's one who's gonna have his number up there eventually. 88.
Oh, yeah, but we're taught that's
going to
down the
own
road.
every
I'm that's down the road.
Yeah, that's down the road. And it's currently retired. No. Currently retired, no. But I'm thinking 63 is going to be up there, and 88 is going to be up there. They're part of that golden era.
63 popped into my head, and I wonder how that would be handled by the Bruins organization.
I mean, Espo, he came back, right? That ended poorly. I think time and space.
Not without being, he was a bit disgruntled. He had some animosity towards the organization.
But he's come back too.
But he came back and Ray Bourque erased all of the shittiness of Harry Sinden when he took off that jersey.
Yeah. So I think we're very far into the future, but those are two players also from this golden age that it's just kind of something that happens when you have such a magnificent stretch for a team. I can't speak to what the heck was happening with the Celtics because I don't watch basketball.
Oh, no, you look up at the numbers and you're like, okay, I can see why these numbers are up there. But at some point you say to yourself, like, how many more are we going to lift up there, right? I mean, Jason Tatum will likely be up there at some point in time.
Yep.
But moving on, and for anyone who has tickets to the game, everyone will be provided with a Zdeno Chara bobblehead. So
amazing.
So it'll be pretty cool. It'll be pretty cool and well deserved. He single-handedly fixed the culture of the Boston Bruins when he arrived as a free agent. It wasn't always easy, but he got the job done. So congratulations to Big Z. Moving on to our Around the Rink segment, there have been some milestones that have been accomplished, and we would be remiss if we didn't touch upon them briefly in this segment. We have Alex Ovechkin, who, Jesus Christ, seems to have found the fountain of youth because he has scored over 20 goals for the 21st time in his career, it's frigging amazing. This guy's like an Iron Man, dude. I mean, he's just like...
He is. He really is. I mean, he's just a machine. That's it. He's a machine. He's a cyborg. He is not a human.
Unbelievable.
He's 40.
It just keeps going. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Good. So congratulations to Ovechkin. I threw this in there. I'm going to give Austin Matthews a flower.
One singular flower.
One flower. Because he broke Matt Sundin all-time Toronto Maple Leafs scoring record, and there was a big ceremony that took place at Maple Leafs Garden or whatever the hell it's called to commemorate that for Austin Matthews. So, congratulations to him.
Do you remember how many goals? Because I do want to point out the fact that he is now the Leafs all-time leading scorer, and it's not even close to what Johnny Busick accomplished.
421.
Brad Marchand had 422 just with the Boston Bruins.
I mean,
good on Matthews, but this is more of a swipe at the Leafs. Aw, you've been around for longer than the Bruins, and your top scorer hasn't even cracked 500. Okay. He will, but
little shade. I mean, yeah, we got to give it and take the shade back too a little bit. So, and then we have another milestone. Leon Draisaitl, 1,000
Yes.
NHL points recently.
Crazy.
And then Steven Stamkos, 600 career NHL goals. So
Wow.
no joke. These are legit, legit players
Yeah.
setting legit milestones for themselves. So
Yeah.
these are, all kidding aside, even when it comes to Austin Matthews, these are pretty damn good accomplishments.
Yeah.
And, and these players are all very humbled and very humble when speaking about these accomplishments and giving credit to, teammates and coaches and good for them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great for the game to see records fall. It always is.
And then we have a little bit of drama going on in New Jersey. I don't know what is happening with the New Jersey Devils and Dougie Hamilton, and he's being healthy scratched and being told it's just a numbers game, and this guy's back in the lineup and he's playing better, and he's got no movement clauses, and he said no to the San Jose Sharks over the summer to be moved, but now his agent is saying, we're open to looking at a trade and may be past our our list of teams that have no movement clauses. Well, what the hell is happening there?
I don't know.
What is going on in New Jersey?
I know. Hopefully we'll have a new friend of the pod on sometime soon to kind of enlighten us, because this seemed a little bit out of left field for me when I saw this come out, and I tend to be pretty aware of what's happening around the league. And so clearly something's a mess, because I wonder what actually happened at that rookie dinner with Jack Hughes.
Yeah. And I still think there's more to meet the eye to that story, and only because we've had experience with that here in Boston with a little hand injury to David Pastrana. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that.
But then, I thought Dougie was a pretty well-liked member of the team and critical part of the organization. And then you see they're just in a tailspin as a team, and you're like, what is happening down there? I don't know. So we're going to keep our eyes open, especially as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline. There is a freeze for the Olympics in terms of business.
No business can be conducted.
If we don't see anything in the next, 2.5 weeks, we're not going to see anything until almost the deadline, which we kind of have been speculating would be the case anyways. So this is one that we're going to be keeping an eye on, because he's a good player. So this could be a pretty big deal that goes down. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And yes, he has been a solid player for them. And I know he's had some significant injuries.
Yeah.
That have impacted him during his time with New Jersey. I also think he's a little bit of an oddball. That was some of what we heard when he was here in Boston, that he's kind of a different guy, different cat. Doesn't mean good or bad, just But
who knows?
Anyways, it's just interesting. This stuff comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if we want to give this story any life or if we want to just move on. But some of the shitty stuff that's been heaved at Linus Ullmark and members of the Ottawa Senators by people who should just stay in their basement and don't crawl out of the cesspool that is your basement.
Awful.
And for those who are not familiar with what's happening here, is Linus Ullmark has taken a personal leave of absence from the Ottawa Senators.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes there are fans, and maybe to some degree media, but I don't think media takes it this far, that just feel that they need to know everybody's business. They need to know why he's away. from the team and why he's not there for the team. And, he's getting paid to play and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So then a story starts circulating, which sounds so far-fetched. The fact that someone could just throw this shit out there and saying that players on the Ottawa Senators are having extramarital affairs, that those affairs were, Linus was telling his wife about them, and his wife told the other it's just beyond ridiculous to the fact that the Ottawa Senators issued a very, very strong statement. Because, in my view, the only way to respond to a bully is to be a bully back.
Yeah.
And that statement basically pushed back on the bully or bullies who are dragging innocent people and families into this shitstorm that shouldn't even be a shitstorm. And Brady Tkachuk
agreed,
spoke out and basically said, leave our freaking families alone. This is bullshit. We're supporting Linus, whatever he's going through. And they clearly know as teammates what he's going through. And the fact that they all have to be responding to this crap. And today, this is why I say social media has been, to some degree, the ruination of society. Because it's so easy to hide behind your keyboard and type whatever the hell you want and see if it sticks.
As I always like to say, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
So I applaud the Ottawa Senators for having their players' backs and responding so strongly. I think they even referred to them as liars and trolls. All right, now we're going to talk about some hockey. When last we met, the Bruins, were trending not in the right direction. And it started with a disgusting loss to frustrating, but disgusting loss to the Seattle Kraken by a score of 7-4. And this was not the first time that a 6 or 7 spot had been put up against the Bruins this season. And it seems to be consistently Jeremy Swayman who is in net when this happens. Now, we can talk about whether or not, this workload, if he's being impacted by this workload, because he was bearing the burden of a bunch of work where we hadn't seen Jonas Korpisalo in what seems like weeks, but likely days at this point. But the goaltending was not good in this. Nothing was really good in that Seattle game. And they gave up 3 power play goals on 4 opportunities, which again,
so frustrating.
It was frustrating. It was frustrating. You're again a game where they were their own worst enemies. Their own worst enemies.
Yeah. It was, and it didn't start off terrible. They were in it for about 38 minutes. They were doing what they needed to do. Was it their best hockey? No. But
Costa was basically putting the team on his back. Brady scored 2 beautiful goals.
Yes. Well, and as a sidebar, if this past week hasn't convinced, if the Boston Bruins front office is telling us these are your 3 candidates for who's going to get the C next, let's assume that those are the only 3 candidates that we are allowed to choose from. If this past week has not convinced you that David Pastrnak should be the next one with that C, I want to hear why. Because that game, the game against the Rangers, how many games does he have to put this team on his back? And not in the way like we would see, let's say, Brad Marchand, who had a tenacity and he would just kind of have the attitude of, all right, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get you excited because I'm going to do it, right?
Correct. Because you're going to follow me. You're going to follow me to the promised land.
Pasternak's approach has been, I'm going to feed you the passes. I'm going to set up the plays. And by God, you're going to score the goal. And that's what he did all week. That is what he did all week. And people have been saying, well, how come David Pastrnak, his goal scoring? Where's his goal scoring? My dude, the points that he is racking up.
So in the last four games, the stretch that we're going to talk about right now, folks, from starting with the 6th and ending with the game that the Bruins played on Sunday night against Pittsburgh. 4 games.
Yep.
2 goals and 7 assists for Pasta. And, not far behind him. And we're going to talk about this kiddo when we get to the Rangers game, because that was his coming out party, is Marat Hustadinov.
Yeah.
4 games, 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points. Mm-hmm. And then you've got a steady diet of solid points from Pavel Zacha, Victor Arvidsson, Elias Lindholm. Okay. After that Seattle game and the fact that they were embarrassed yet again, nobody was happy with the way they played, including themselves. They come home on home ice and finally start turning things around. Why? Because they are finally playing 5v5 hockey and staying, for the most part, out of the damn penalty box.
Yeah. The other thing that I realized that, yes, we've said basically since day one, the penalty box is the biggest issue, that they have to be 5-on-5. But it's not even just that being at 5-on-5 is so key to their success. It also then allows lines like the Kastelik line to do their job. We have not seen the identity line do their thing in forever because they have not been able to play their game because of being in the penalty box. It's the penalty box has a multitude of negative impacts, right? It's not just, okay, you're down a player. Okay, you may allow a goal. It means that critical players can't be out there on the lines that they're most effective for the number of minutes that they need to be out there to be effective. And we are seeing a very immediate direct result of what happens when you're not going to the box constantly for stupid stick infractions.
Right. And it's a very different thing when you can put that trio that you referred to on a penalty kill as opposed to doing their regular job. They can't really be as aggressive as they are and as tenacious as they are because they're charged with the responsibility of, helping to kill off a penalty, right? So it just stands to reason. And if I have said all along that in order for this team to be able to compete and play within the structure that they want to play in, it has to be 5v5 hockey.
Yes. And amazingly, not to jump too far ahead, but not only did we see a reduction in trips to the penalty box, the trips we did see to the penalty box were not the idiotic stick infractions. We're talking about trips, holds, slaps.
Is that because Hampus Lindholm's not in the lineup right now?
Your favorite player right now.
The penalties are not. I like his game when he's able to play and he's not in the penalty box.
He's being a bonehead right now. Well, not now because he's out with a mystery injury.
Yeah.
But, there are certain acceptable and unacceptable penalties. And the fact of the matter is that Boston was not only just getting a ridiculous number of penalties, the type of penalty is also huge. And so the penalties that we did see were, I almost want to call them either justifiable penalties, because they were maybe a match penalty or like a not necessarily a match, but simultaneous penalty with the other team, or sometimes they're unavoidable,
Matching minors.
right, or like the delay of game.
Yeah.
It happens. It's a stupid penalty, but like, look, physics, I'm not going to be mad at Mason Lohrei for sending a puck out. It's not like he does it all the time, but the rest of them, okay, I can live with that because this is hockey. That's what the game is. So I was pleased on the whole, especially in that regard.
No, it was nice to see because, again, concern was building up for me in that, you keep leaving points or losing games.
Mm-hmm.
And this Eastern Conference, right? No one really seems to want to separate themselves in the East. So you're leaving crucial points on the table at this point in time.
Yeah.
So, the Bruins come back home and they right the ship against the Calgary Flames, a little bit of redemption after having lost to them on the road, came up with a 4-1 win. We had a little bit of balanced scoring in that game, which was nice to see. We had goals from Sean Corrali, Elias Lindholm, an even strength goal from Elias Lindholm.
Amen.
And Mason Lohrei and Casey Middlestaff. Korpisalo saved their ass in this game, especially in the second period, where, the Bruins let Calgary think that they had some signs of life and, spent a little bit more time than they should have in the Bruins defensive zone.
Yep.
And here's a good stat in this game. This is where you start to see a little bit of a turnaround for the Bruins. Only 3 penalties taken in this game, 1 per period. That's not a lot to ask, guys. 1 penalty per period is doable.
Yeah. And not a single one of them was a stick infraction. So, these are penalties that are part of the game, interference, a trip. Okay, fine. The other key element was that Boston scored first. They are definitely a team that needs that right now because it's always going to be harder when you're the team that doesn't score first. You always then have to score 2 goals to get at least ahead, and it's just a much harder lift. And this team, while they are not a bad team, their ability to convert on their many, many excellent plays, many excellent chances, all these opportunities, it's just something that's not happening with a frequency that we would certainly like to see.
Right.
And so to start a game ahead is particularly critical for this team this season.
And chasing a game takes more energy. It just does. It stands to reason. It just does.
Yes. And I'm still super nervous when we go into a second period that still seems to be, for the most part, the time that if Boston has a good control over the first, the second period is still seemingly, with the exception of the Rangers game, their weakest period. So it's still mildly stressful. But I was glad that Boston was able to capitalize in the Calgary game on the continued chances that Korpisalo gave them, because many a time we have seen them squander those chances.
Right.
And I think in this case, some of this was luck because Dustin Wolf had played the night before. And typically you don't, in modern NHL games, you're not seeing your starting goaltender do that.
Back to back, yeah.
You're really seeing those get split. And, whatever Calgary's strategy was, they're fighting to try and make the playoffs. So they're throwing whatever they can at them. Wolf is a fantastic goaltender. The travel wasn't very far. He really stymied the Bruins forwards in their last game. Like, they really just couldn't get past him. And so maybe the fact that he had played the night before was just enough that they were then able to actually get through him. I don't know, but it worked out.
I don't care as long as we get the W. That's a Calgary problem, not a Bruins problem as far as I'm
100%.
concerned. So the fact that, they're taking advantage of those opportunities is big in my view.
Yeah.
So then let's fast forward to the game that was national TV game, January 10th, two original 6 teams, the New York Rangers celebrating their centennial season. So they wore their centennial jerseys, which gave the Bruins the opportunity to wear their home whites for a change, which was cool to see. I'm still old school. I would like to see home whites more often than not, but whatever the case may be. And you thought at puck drop that this was going to be, don't even tell me this is going to be the same as the Black Friday game, because second shot on goal, Mika Zibanejad scored. To which I said in our Discord, Swayman better be on a short leash today, because I'm not watching another 7 spot being put up on the Bruins.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, did they make me eat my words, the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
10 goals.
Yeah, it's been a minute since they've had a game like that.
I mean, 10 freaking goals. 2 different players with hat tricks.
And a third on a Hattie watch.
Right? I mean, Marat Hustadinov, 4 goals.
Yeah.
4 goals. David Pastrnak, 6 assists.
Points. Tied the record, the franchise record for most points in a single game, currently held by both Ken Hodge and Bobby Orr.
I mean, it's
unbelievable. Unbelievable. And not to take away anything from the Bruins at all, because they obviously they played really well. But again, the thing that Boston was able to do was to actually take advantage of the situation and convert, because the situation was the fact that, surprisingly, Jonathan Quick, I believe he's the winningest American goaltender in the NHL.
And I think that ABC was right. Was it McDonough? Or I forget who said it. That was a mercy pull. That wasn't all on Quick. I mean,
no,
it wasn't
because
all
it continued after he got pulled. But he's a fantastic goaltender. So, and he's been put in this position where he's an older goaltender. His job is backup, but Shesterkin is out. He hurt his knee, and then no Adam Fox. Yes, and so it just seemed, and Quick also wasn't on his game. I mean, to quote you, he was throwing a lot of pizzas out there.
Oh my God.
Rebounds just absolutely unreal. And this is not something that we have seen from a player of Quick's pedigree. So they had a goaltender that was just giving him shots back to continue to pepper him with. And it seemed like the Rangers just didn't show up, which is a surprise, because they have been one of the best road teams, and not just good, they annihilate teams on the road.
And that's why it was so shocking, and why I was clenching my gut as soon as the puck dropped, where I'm like, are you kidding me? Is it going to be one of these games where the Rangers are going to score a boatload of goals on someone else's ice? That was their 3rd loss in a row for the Rangers. Yes, I just pulled up their team stats. So they lost to Utah in overtime 3-2. They had a couple of days off. They lost to the Sabres 5-2. And then they lost to the Bees 10-2.
Ouch. This game for the Boston Bruins, I think, was one of the most important games that they could have right now. And I'll tell you why. We are in the dog days of the season. This is when it becomes a real slog. You're at that point where you've been playing all of these games. It's been compounded by the fact that they've been playing more games in a shorter period of time. April still feels like a long ways away because it is.
Yeah.
Okay, it is still very far away. For this team that has gone up and down, they have struggled as a team mentally, things just not going their way. A game like this hopefully reminded them that it's fun to play, that it reminded them of the joy of what they get to do every day of the week, and hopefully took some of that pressure off and just gave them I don't want to say an easy win, because no win in the National Hockey League is an easy win. But to just have a game like this where you've got all these fun things happening. You've got Pavel Zacha, who's been in the league for a while now. He's a veteran.
First hat trick ever.
First hat trick? Like, that's phenomenal. The team's going to love it.
And I felt a little badly for him because I don't think it was as celebrated as it would normally be because of that very late goal. Was it in the first period? That wasn't really, it wasn't looked at until, after the period was over to some degree and called a goal. So fans might not have been aware of the fact that, he got credited with that goal.
I mean, friend of the pod, Mary Beth, she was at the game. She was already in line at the bathroom when they called them back. She didn't know that had happened. Yeah. But, it's going to be an uplifting thing for the team to have him experience this. A veteran getting his first, a kid getting his first in Husnudinov, Minton getting 2 goals and contributing like he's been contributing, and Pasta just being at the center of all of these plays. Like, they needed a game like this with a result like that to just lift them up out of the doldrums of this time of year, because the very next game was against the Penguins, and it's back to business. It's buckle down and get serious, because they are fighting for a wild card spot up against the Penguins. And
I thought it was hysterical. Was it early on in the game where, was it Rempe who was wanting to go with Zadorov or the other way around? And the kid is just like, are you stupid? Are you
truly... brain is already toothpaste, Maria.
Yes. I mean, are you truly stupid? Good on Nikita for saying, dude, I can't even bother wasting my time.
Go away
right now.
Go away. Exactly.
Go away.
Yeah. And we joke in the Discord, like, oh, okay, so if Boston scored 10 goals, are they going to have any goals to score against the Penguins? Well, they had 1 goal, and that's all they needed to get through that game. That one was stressful. That one was very stressful for me.
Well, I think that game is the very definition of the grinded out games that we thought we would see when they announced that, okay, this is the way we want to play. This is our defensive structure. Mm-hmm. I just want to quickly go back 1 point on the Rangers game. There was a penalty shot awarded to Vincent Trocheck, which was just fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. That was only made twofold, in my view. The refs feeling sorry for the New York Rangers and the fact that they're on national TV. Oh, let's throw a penalty shot in here for our national TV audience. Which was it was just lame. It was absolutely lame.
He didn't have a clean breakaway. He was not, there was not enough separation between him and Charlie McAvoy to warrant a penalty shot.
So very lame. Very lame.
Agreed.
On the part of the officials. I thought it was a garbage. To me, it's embarrassing as an official that you're making that call to award a penalty shot. We move on.
Yeah. So
Penguins.
The Penguins came to town. Sidney Crosby came to town. He's always still very much so a threat. That core.
You got Crosby, Malkin
Yep.
still got gas in the tank.
They sure do.
Letang is still a little gnat on defense, and no shortage of former Bruins players on that team.
Apparently, people's favorite colors are black and yellow because we saw Justin Brazeau, we saw
Parker Wotherspoon. He's one of their number one pairing guys on that team.
Yeah.
Connor Clifton there.
Yes, I forgot he got traded from Buffalo, and Korpisalo was just fantastic. And I think he was that fantastic because he had played within the week. We know he's good.
Yes.
He is a good goaltender.
He's yes, and yes. But you can't go 0 for 6 on the power play. I understand that the Penguins are the number one penalty killing team in the league, but you still can't go 0 for 6 in a 1-0 game. You've got to capitalize on 1 or 2 of those opportunities to give yourself separation, because what you do in an instance like that, when you have the likes of Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and the rest of the cast of characters, you are giving them an opportunity to get themselves back in the game. And there was no shortages of that, especially, I believe, was it in the second period, where Jonas had to make some quality A++ saves against Sidney Crosby.
Yes, he took a direct shot, and then Sid got the puck back on a rebound and then tried to do a backhanded shot right along the post, and Corpy was there with his glove. It was unbelievable to see him just so on his game. And, Boston came out really strong in that game. In the first period, they led in shots on goal, but then from there, Pittsburgh was just throwing everything that they had at the Bruins, at Korpisalo, and they just couldn't get through. I will say, I'm in 100% agreement with you. When you have 6 power play opportunities, you got to convert on at least one of them. However, if the trade-off is staying out of the box, staying at 5 on, at least having 5 players out there at all times, I'm okay. I'm okay with that trade-off. I would rather see, you know what I mean? If we're only allowed to have one thing.
Again, yes and no. I mean, you only had 4 shots on goal. The Bruins only had 4 shots on goal in the second period and only 4 shots on goal in the third period. And so I'm looking at that going, you had 6 kicks at a power play opportunity. Even if you make it 2-0.
You have to. 100%.
I'm sorry. You've got to be able to convert. You have to. So, but they walk away with the crucial points that we need. They are maintaining a push for a wild card spot. Ahead of them right now is the Buffalo Sabres, who, for some reason, pretty much everyone else in these races has played like 44, 45, 46 games. Buffalo's only played 43, which doesn't make any sense to me. But you are maintaining pace with the Washington Capitals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
have more loser points than you do, which is why they are ahead of you in that. Well, you have the same number of points, but because they have more loser points.
Yes, they have also. So the Capitals, they've played 46 games. They have 23 wins to Boston's 25 wins, which is just obnoxious.
Yes.
But Boston has, 19 losses. Washington has 17 losses. But the difference there is, again, the overtime losses for the Capitals is 6 and the Bruins is 2. Otherwise, they are identical at 52 points. Their points percentage is the same at .565. It's the overtime. I mean, it's idiotic. Yeah. It's idiotic.
This whole wild card scenario race is crazy because you've got the Caps, the Bruins at 52 points. Don't look now, but the Maple Leafs are starting to figure things out in Toronto.
And they got 2 games in hand.
Right. And they have 2 games in hand. They're sniffing on everyone's heels at 51 points, as are the Pittsburgh Penguins. Mm-hmm. Now, those points last night were crucial for the Bees, as well as very hurtful to the Penguins.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Well, and one other stat that I want to throw out there to point out to folks that's really, really easy to understand and see when you're looking at the, let's say the NHL.com standings or any place that you go to look at the standings. Typically, teams that make the playoffs are the ones that have a positive goal differential. That's that DIFF column that you'll see. And everyone below the Pittsburgh Penguins has a negative goal differential. And that's typically not a good sign of things to come. Everybody else, I mean, is in the positive. For crying out loud, the Tampa Bay Lightning are at a plus 39, and the Red Wings have come seemingly out of nowhere as well, because I think it's just because we haven't seen much of Detroit play against the Bruins, all the other divisional teams.
No, and talk about a guy who's found the fountain of youth, as Patrick Kane has been on fuego for them. They're coming in. They're coming into the TD Garden having won 3 games in a row.
Yes.
5-3 win against Ottawa, 5-1 win against the Canucks, and a 4-0 drubbing of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, the Red Wings are playing tonight, Monday night, against the Carolina Hurricanes, and then need to make their way to Boston to play the Bruins on Tuesday night, which is a 7:30 start time because the game is being carried by TNT. Detroit is at the top of the Atlantic standings right now. So
yeah, and this is one where we can't leave points on the table because
no, absolutely not.
The Red Wings they're 12-7-3 when they're away. So they're not necessarily guaranteed to run away with it when it comes to playing in Boston. They have more overtime losses on the road than they do at home. So hopefully this means that we're going to see a good competitive game, and that Boston just, again, if they stay out of the box, they continue doing what they've been doing this past week, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay.
Then we have the Kraken coming into town on, I believe, Thursday night.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Bruins will exact a little bit of revenge.
Yes.
And then they head off to Chicago for an original 6 matchup against the Blackhawks, who they've had a bit of an up and down season.
And that's another Centennial team. So there are 3 Centennial teams in 2026, and Detroit seems to be the only one that's having a good Centennial season, as opposed to the New York Rangers and the Chicago Blackhawks.
Rangers and the Blackhawks.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Yeah, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for them. All right. So, but again, Bruins are doing what they need to do. Figured out that they need to stay out of the penalty box. Is it sustainable? Let's hope that it is, because clearly they've seen the benefit of successful results when they play 5-on-5 hockey. And I'm not saying that there's not going to be a game where there's an abundance of penalties, but it can't be the norm any longer. It just can't.
Here's hoping for a good week.
Let's hope. All right. So now we're going to get to our stick taps and penalty box.
Yes. Why don't we start with stick taps? Jonas Korpisalo, I mean, he was amazing in his 2 games that we saw in the past week. He gave the Bruins every opportunity. They actually took advantage of it. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I should not have been surprised, but I was, that it was the first shutout of the season by the Bees.
I know. I found that was a very staggering statistic, but wow. Yeah.
Usually we're not seeing that happen for the first time in January. Usually it's like, I don't know, end of October, sometime in November.
Right. But
stick taps to the entire team for staying well behaved and keeping their hands to themselves, for their limited penalties, finally. And of course, the ultimate stick tap to that Corrali, Jeannot, Kastelik line. I mean, that identity line, when they were good against the Rangers, but shit, they were really good against the Penguins. They gave the Penguins fits last night. And
Marco wasn't afraid to play them against Crosby's line, that speaks volumes about the job that those guys are doing.
I agree.
Yeah. And, Corrales, for going to jokingly say an old man, but old by hockey standards on this team, dropping the gloves.
Yes.
Right? Mixing it up. Not afraid to mix it up.
He's been waking up in the past month. So it's good to see. It's good to see him.
Who's in the penalty box? What's in the penalty box?
I mean, the power play, which is just kind of ironic. It's like, what's that game? The woodchucks or the gophers, whatever, that pop their head up and whack-a-mole. That's not even close. Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole, yeah.
This week it's the power play. I mean, 1 for 3 against Seattle, 0 for 2 Calgary, 1 for 3 against New York, 0 for 6 against the Pens.
Not good enough. Not good enough. And it's not for a lack of not having people that are able to score. The one thing we didn't touch upon during this series of games, and we can just do it quickly here because I know we're at just about at time, is Morgan Geekie has seemed to have hit a little bit of a roadblock with scoring. And he came close in a couple of opportunities. I think he was deferring a little too much in these recent games, but we need to get him back on his scoring track. And I'm not putting him in the penalty box because if it's not for him,
no,
right, this team would be in a freaking world of hurt right now. But it's just something to look out for.
I think his particular situation is two things, right? It's the league has gotten wise to him, and now they're viewing him as a legitimate threat, and so they're going to cover him more. They're going to go after him more, just like they do with Pasta. And the other thing is, players have these things happen, and he just needs something to spark him. So if that means hopefully when he's back that he gets some playing time with Pasta to get lit up again, I'm sure they're going to figure it out and they're going to get him squared away, because he is not a flash in the pan. I really don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I know that was something that was kind of a monkey on his back.
Right.
Where he came from previously, but let's just hope. And again, I think all scorers go through a little bit of a lull. We've seen it happen across the league. We've seen it happen to David Pastrnak. Let's hope it's just temporary.
Yes.
So with that said, folks, the Bruins are still fighting for a wild card spot. All we can ask them to do is continue fighting, continue playing up to their abilities. And with that, I would like to thank everyone for listening. You can like and subscribe to find more content. Be sure to leave us a rating and review to help other Bruins fans find us. You can also support our podcast by joining our Patreon or following us on our socials at Tape to Tape MK and on Substack at tapetotapemk.substack.com. This episode and all previous episodes are available on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. So with that being said, any closing thoughts, my friend?
Go Bees!
Go Bees!